everybody, and welcome to the Life Administration Podcast. My name is Ryan Talon, and with me, as always, is
Leslie Loftus. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
How are you, Ryan? Ryan's in a rough way today.
I'm in a rough way. Did some dad moves. I have some neck injuries. I have some back injuries.
It was a belly flop into a baby pool.
Listen, I wasn't.
And I asked him why. Why would you do a belly flop into a baby pool? And what did you say?
To make my daughter smile.
Dad sucker right there.
Absolutely.
Right there.
She's got me wrapped around her finger. Yeah, we got a little pool, because all the pools are closed, at least in my neighborhood. Who knows when they're going to open again? And
it's Texas and it's hot. And so
so we leveled off a little area in my yard and built the thing. Anyway, we've had it for 2 weeks. And well, you know what? The unintended side effect has been like cleaning it and maintaining it. Mm-hmm. I've learned some stuff, but also
some life administration stuff.
It's kind of relaxing,
Oh, yeah. I find sweeping kind of zen, but also sometimes I get in the pool to exercise, and instead of doing laps, I get one of the scoopers.
Yes.
And I just swim around and tread water and scoop the pine needles.
Yes.
It's relaxing. Yes. Right there with you.
Do the chemicals. I do the chemicals, make the balance, the whole thing, get the skimmer, check the filter, clean the pump. And then when it's done, it's
fun
like,
games until you do a belly flop.
Yeah. And then you do, because it's got to be 2.5 feet high. It's unreasonable for an almost 40-year-old to do a belly flop into. And my daughter just said, "Can you jump off the top step of the ladder, Daddy? Can you do it?"
Oh my goodness. Oh, how many male injuries were a young pretty girl saying, "There ya."
All of mine.
All of them.
all of mine. From the time that I was like 13 on, all of my injuries have come from that. Okay. Well, hey, this is actually episode 30. I thought last week was episode 30.
I'm surprised that you still bother to try and count.
Because
he wants to count.
I want to count. This is episode 30,
Counts
y'all.
Dracula.
Yes, episode 30. And we're road tripping.
We are road tripping.
So,
exactly.
You tell us about what's been going on with you. What happened last week?
Well, first of all, we did a road trip with the kids to the beach in Florida. And
so how far is that from here?
Oh, goodness gracious. If you drive straight through, you're looking at a 9-hour trip. Got
it.
We did not, because we were, us and 10 teenagers, we were not driving straight through.
Hold on. Time out.
10.
I just want to make sure I heard that right.
10.
10? Okay, 10 teenagers.
10 teens and tweens.
Okay.
Yeah. No. It was
just the same as far as I'm concerned.
Kind of, sort of.
Yeah.
Right. So we actually stopped.
And just you and Jim.
Just Jim and I.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Patrick now drives. So there were, at one point I got tired on the way, and then one point on the way back, Jim got tired. And so Patrick took over a 2-hour leg.
Gotcha.
Which is totally, we had him with us and stuff like that. And also it's good skills, because road trip driving is a little bit different than other Anyway, brings up, with all of the COVID-19 stuff, people aren't flying as much. You certainly can't internationally travel. That's off the table. So lots of people are looking into regional, local traveling, either by renting an RV or just doing the, load up the old station wagon and doing the Griswold Holiday Road. You have to know that movie.
Yeah.
But I think everybody knows that movie. The Holiday Road thing in the Griswold Woody wagon, which sounds like you did a lot of that after college. That's how I used to travel when I was a kid. And we lived overseas for a while. We haven't really done the road trip with the kids, and they're getting older, so we needed to do it.
Yes. So when you had initially asked me in our, we'll say our pre-production meeting, which is just you and I, joshing before we start, and I said that I had just done stuff later in my life, but that's an absolute lie, because my parents were divorced when I was younger. My dad moved to Pittsburgh. I was living in Rhode Island. That's about a 10-hour drive. And I would see him 4 to 5 times a year. So we were making that trip. My grandfather was taking me all the way. I can remember they would drop me off halfway.
Right.
We'd meet at this rest stop, maybe 4.5 hours in. They'd make the switch, and then I would keep on going. So I really like to road trip. And then when I got older, when I had the option to move, when I was working for Hollywood Video and all those other companies, I never wanted to fly. I never wanted to have movers. I was always afraid people were going to break my stuff. And
apparently he called Sean a lot and like, dude, I'm moving 10 hours. Help me.
Okay. So here's my 30-second commercial break about our very first move. We load up a van. So I'm 22, 23 years old.
Into a van, not a U-Haul.
It is a U-Haul van.
Okay.
So it's like a bigger sort of event because I didn't have enough stuff yet, you know? So we load up the van. And it was actually a Penske van, the yellow Penske van, and it was snowing in Massachusetts. So
real snow. Yeah.
We literally real snow.
Yeah.
We literally had been driving for maybe like an hour or so, and we're in the middle of a snowstorm, and the driver's side windshield wiper breaks. So we have to. The only way that we can clear the snow is by reaching our hand out the window and holding.
Well, you still have both hands, so you didn't get frostbite.
Well, I mean, after about 45 minutes of this, you just can't do it, right? It doesn't matter what kind of glove you have on. So we took a luggage strap and we tied it to the other one. I mean, necessity is the mother of invention. So, we're driving down the road in the snowstorm and there's a luggage strap in the middle of the windshield. Clink, 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 clink. So we endured that for the next 26 hours or however how long it was. And then driving to Minnesota, obviously through Wisconsin, more snow. It was a whole thing. Anyway, I love road tripping. Lots of good stories.
Exactly. So we're going to talk about, everybody's interested in doing it now. If you haven't been doing it, it's a little bit different than airplane travel or anything. So we're going to talk about how to do it.
Awesome. Sounds good. Let's get going. Where are we going?
All right. Well, that kind of depends because with road trips, here's the thing. You can either have a destination like we're going to Pikes Peak, Colorado, or you can say we're going to take this route and we're just going to hit, the giant ball of string and this historical monument and Carlsbad Caverns or
the giant ball of string.
Sorry, the Griswold jokes will flow. Will flow through here. And then as you can tell probably from Carlsbad and stuff like that, I'm in Texas and when we did ours, we were either going. We did a lot of on I-10. So we're either going
west or east.
Yeah, east to Florida or west to New Mexico. Okay. And although a couple of times you can also do this kind of road trip where you fly to a spot, you rent a van, suburban, SUV, something like that, RV. And so that's how we did the national parks back when I was about 14 or so. We flew into, goodness gracious, I want to say we flew into Colorado somewhere and we drove around and we ended up turning the car back in Montana, I think. I can't remember, and flying back home out of Montana. So we did that for 2.5 weeks. So sometimes on a road trip, the destination itself, you're mapping out exactly where you want to go. So first thing you need to decide is which one you want to be. Are you going because you need to get somewhere or are you going just, I'm determined? Because I've been a neglectful Texas mother, but every child born in Texas needs to drive out through the west side of the state so they can be, 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours. Are we there yet? Let's say you're going to Ritos, New Mexico. Are we there yet? We're not even out of Texas yet. We're not even to El Paso. We are not to Amarillo yet. And then 13 hours, finally, finally we're in New Mexico. And then an hour and a half later, you're at your actual destination.
Right. Surprise, we're here.
Surprise, now we're here. Yeah. But driving through the crazy desert nothing that is West Texas from Midland to El Paso just needs to be done.
Yeah.
So
when we talk about planning our trip, let me tell you what I think people shouldn't do.
Okay.
And that is pack as much driving as humanly possible. And I used to do that because to me, it was always about the destination. It was never about the journey. And so, if you didn't do 12 hours of driving, you were slacking. I can remember
12 hours of driving in a full day is having just done the Florida thing. And we got there in a little over 10 hours. My butt hurt and we were exhausted. I mean, the drive really, we're going to get into planning road stops and stuff like that. Yeah. But really for the driver, because you can't really shift around. Everybody else in the car can shift around a bit. The driver kind of, even if you've got great cruise control and you can shift a little bit around.
Yeah.
your butt just hurts after 3 hours.
Yep.
I mean, 3 hours is kind of the max leg.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like someone else take over here, man.
Yeah.
I'm not wanting to do this anymore.
At one point we stopped at a Subway for lunch and I refused to sit down.
Right. You're like, no, I don't want to sit. Yeah.
I don't care if I'm standing for an hour because, there was a bit of a line there. And then that was mostly because everybody's doing some distancing. But anyway, it took a little bit longer to get our sandwiches.
Look how big this line is. Oh, it's only 4 minutes long. Everyone's 6 feet apart.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But we did have a large crew and I'm going last. So yeah, I was standing for a good 45 minutes and I did not complain. I didn't. People, do you need a seat? No, I do not. Especially not on that hard stone bench. I do not want to take a seat.
Negative Ghost Rider. The pattern is full. And I think too, when you do these long road trips, and I mean, it's just because now I'm older and wiser, but you don't think about these things of you're probably not drinking as much water because you don't want to stop. So then like messes with your body. It can mess
dehydration makes you tired.
Yeah. And it can mess with everything when you actually get to your destination. I can remember Sean specifically, if he was here right now, I mean, he would be in bright it with red. Me. Yeah, okay. He'd be bright red. But, there was some issues when we got to our destination. And then we couldn't really go anywhere for a couple of days after because, he had to work things out. If you know what I mean, catch my drift.
I don't actually.
Okay. Well, everyone else did.
Everyone else did.
Yeah. Okay. So what are some of the critical things that we need to be thinking about when we're planning our road trip? So in your notes, we talk about like Wi-Fi, right? That's
okay.
How does that even work?
These days, a lot of times people will be working, while, one of the reasons everybody's looking at road trips as well, I'm doing most of my work through Zoom calls and everything else, but that does mean you need to have connectivity,
right?
Which means that your stops, and I'm not sure if rest stops, somebody might want to Google that, if rest stops and those kind of highway rest areas.
Yeah.
I don't think any of them have Wi-Fi, which means you're going to want to at least get yourself some internet connection at least once or twice, depending on your work. You need to think through that, or you need to look into getting yourself a good, like my husband has a really good hotspot. Satellite hotspot. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it can basically boost any signal and it works from almost anywhere. So he could take conference calls while driving, that sort of thing.
Yeah. And a lot of times, depending on your route and stuff, that you typically can upgrade your cell phone plan to tether, right? So you can tether your phone to your laptop where it'll give you, maybe it's not a work thing. Maybe it's not as reliable, but instead of going and spending, $300 on a hotspot, hey, I can bump my plan up for a week, pay an extra $30. And everyone can connect and use the Wi-Fi and things like that.
Right. Think through stuff like that, depending on what your needs are. Because if you really are just road tripping just for the heck of it and you have some time off, well, then don't worry about that.
So what are you thinking? When I would drive, I would sort of plan my stops, but then I would also say like, oh, I want to get to this hotel. I would make reservations sort of in advance as like my checkpoint. Where are you at with our current climate?
Okay. Depends, first of all, on if you're in an RV or a regular car. If you have rented, say, an RV or you have bought an Airstream or whatever, and so you need to get to an RV park or you're camping, okay, and so you need to get there and get set up. Yes, you need to go ahead and make reservations at the RV park or at the campsite, and then you need to plan your trip legs around getting there, not only in enough time, but enough time that you have daylight to... Well, I don't want to curse, but I'm thinking of another Griswold thing. The crapper is full. Yeah, exactly.
Cousin Eddie.
Cousin Eddie, exactly.
It's full.
But yeah, you need to hook up your potable water. You probably need to hook up your generator. RVs come with lots of moving parts. We'll talk about that towards the end. If you're camping, you need to be able to set up your tent, all this stuff. All of that is much easier if you're doing that at twilight or earlier. It's harder to do at night. So if you're in one of those situations, definitely have this is the campsite that we need to be at by 5:00 on Tuesday, et cetera. Right now, if you're just car tripping it and you're going to go hotel, we used to do this one a lot when I was a kid, and I think it's doable right now. We would just tool in. So my dad would have an idea of where he wanted to get to. And then if he got tired driving or whatever, if we just made a little bit of better time and we got on to the next town, however it worked, he'd just drive up to some of the different Holiday Inn kind of places like Quintas and check in. Right now, most of them are empty. That would probably work.
Yeah.
Because here's the nice thing about not being connected to, I have to get there by then. There's a lot of times that maybe there's traffic, maybe your car overheated. I mean, road trip stuff happens on road trips. You've got the baby with you, and oh my gosh, there was a diaper blowout, and then there's no way you can possibly get the baby back in the car afterward. So you end up what you thought was going to be a 10-minute stop turns into an hour and a half stop because you got to let the kid run around at the rest stop. It makes it harder if you have a set, I have to be there. So if you have a set, I have to be there, then give yourself extra time. Build in some time for mistakes and grace and all that stuff. If you are hoteling it, you can probably hotel hop depending on what you can be a little more flexible.
Yeah.
And I think for right now.
One thing I would consider.
Take your masks though, because everybody's requiring masks.
Everyone requires masks.
Right.
2 apps that I would consider using because we didn't have apps then, but you can still do it on then. Oh, I'm so old.
Dude, we had CBs. I was telling I'm on the phone with my husband and we're trying to figure out because we got separated.
Yeah.
Where are you? I'm like, I'm at Lollipop 119. And he's like, Lollipop. I'm like, oh. Yeah, we had CBs in the car, mile marker 119.
Yeah.
Because the signs look like lollipops.
Yeah. Yes. But Hoteltonight is a great app where, basically you just say like, here's the area that I want to stay in. Right. So let's say I think we could drive for 2 more hours. Okay. If we drive for 2 more hours, that will put us in Albuquerque, whatever. Right.
Should have taken that left turn.
Yeah. Should have taken that left turn in Albuquerque. So then you put it in and then typically, you just say, hey, I want 3 stars, right? Your normal sort of driving hotel, and they just lock you in wherever. And it's usually a lot cheaper than if you were to drive in, if you want to save a couple bucks,
okay. Perfect.
That sort of thing. Priceline does the same thing. Name your own price, just select the area and you're off.
And that's a little more adapted because you can do it kind of, if you have a Wi-Fi connection, you can do it while you're on the road.
Yep. I mean, that's when we were driving from Oregon to here, when we were moving, that's what we would do. We'd say, okay, we'd probably go for another hour. Lauren would be in the passenger seat and she would go on Priceline and hook it up. So and it's a good way because you can save like $50-$60, I mean, because those hotels.
Well, if you're on a 2-week road trip and you're staying in a hotel every night, $50 a night it's
a lot. And then you got taxes and fees and the whole thing. All of a sudden,
that's a couple of meals.
Yeah, you check out and it's $95-$100 if you have a dog with you. Is a thing on top of that. So it's a nice little savings. Nice little savings.
Other things to think about when you're kind of loosely planning out your route and your trip. Of course, monuments and giant balls of wax that you might want to see, and Carlsbad Caverns. The cool stuff. Also, remember, if you're on an interstate, every time, well, first of all, interstates are loaded with rest stops. And rest stops, I mean, now they look like they've gotten some of them were very sketchy when I was a kid. I think
some of them are still a little sketchy. Some of them are still sketchy.
Okay. Well, certainly on I-10 going to Florida, they looked pretty nice, right? But also every time you cross state lines, there's a welcome center for the state. And I actually used to hate it, my poor dad, but he used to make us stop at every single one of those welcome centers because we didn't have something called the internet. So if you wanted to know what there was to see in Alabama, and especially you stopped at the welcome center. Okay. So if you want to be nostalgic, stop at the welcome center. Yes, I know you can get it on the app now, but also they're going to have restrooms. They're going to have a night, it's a nice pot, and they'll have friendly people, at least down in the South they will. And
not a dig at the North. I'm from the North. We have nice people too. We just like to move things very quickly. And also you'd have to stop at the welcome center because your map ended. Right. So a lot of times you had the big thick atlas, right? Which was like, I don't know.
Or the key map. Right.
Right. But then you would get to a new state and you'd say, hey man, my map isn't as detailed. I need to.
You are 100%. I had forgotten that detail. Yep. Yes. You had to.
I can remember stopping in New Jersey being like, well, we got to get the New Jersey map.
Right.
We don't have the New Jersey map. Oh, we're in Pennsylvania. Got to get the Pennsylvania map.
Things that you've just forgot that are now almost obsolete. Because that was the other thing because I remember we would regularly do the trip to Florida and we would regularly do the trip to New Mexico. So we, would go for a couple of years without getting a new map. But after about 2 or 3 years, there's road changes. As we all know, Google, Waze, Apple Maps can't keep up with all the construction all the time. So, every couple of years you had to stop and get the map.
On one of those road trips to see my dad, my grandfather had a map that was 6 or 7 years old, and the turn that we needed to go on just didn't exist anymore. Mm-hmm. And he drove for 30 miles before he realized that something was wrong. Gone. It was like, nah, this doesn't seem right.
Oh, so growing up, there were a lot of mistakes like that because you didn't have real-time maps.
No.
Okay. All of you youngins just feel lucky.
Seriously. You don't know how good you have it.
Uphill in the snow. Both ways.
Okay. So what do we need? We're talking about packing now, right?
Yep. We are.
We're talking about packing.
Okay. Biggest thing, especially when you're hauling a bunch of teenagers. Remember that you need space not only for people, but for luggage. It's sometimes really, especially if you were doing winter road tripping, like for this trip to Florida. Well, summer packing is, with the exception of the fact that we needed to bring our own beach towels, that got kind of bulky. Summer packing's not bulky.
Yep.
So you can, consolidate. You can make two of the girls share a suitcase, that sort of thing. But still, by the time you've put everybody's suitcases and then the snacks and then the towels, luggage takes up a lot of space. So, of course, there's the options of the stuff on top, what are they called?
Ski racks?
Well, the clamshells that you put on top.
I don't know.
I don't know what they're called, but we had them before.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Did my phone just ring? Yes, it did. Do we want to make sure that it's still recording?
Hold on, audio.
Hold on.
If you're listening,
right,
you're good. If you're watching, you're so not good, Parker. Fine. We're still recording.
We're still recording. Awesome.
Unbelievable.
Awesome. Obviously, we have streamlined our equipment here, and we've been using my phone as seriously, Parker? Oh, goodness gracious. Let me text my daughter.
I'm going to take a road trip downstairs to be like, stop calling.
Yes, exactly. Because the children are, by the way, downstairs in the house. She's calling me from the floor below.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So anyway, plan for both of those things. Plan for space. Also, remember, you need comfortable space for everybody. You can't, when we're talking about a 4+ hour, once you're north of 4 hours, you can't cram everybody in. You just can't.
I did a road trip from Oregon to Southern California. And this was, so I had just started it was a little side project. This was like my first sort of step into being an entrepreneur, right? I still had my normal job, but I started this website. It was about like game reviews and health and fitness and trying to like manage the two together. But anyway, we were going to this conference in E3. We actually got invited, got like a press pass and everything. We felt so legitimate. So we're like, we have to go, right?
Excellent.
So there was 6 of us in the car, and I'm telling you, it was a Subaru WRX. 6 guys in that car. It was awful.
Yeah.
Awful. Like,
yeah.
Don't ever, you need to have room. You need to have room. Like you look back and you think about, oh, wasn't that? No, it wasn't fun. It wasn't fun. There's no nostalgia there that says, I want to go back and do that. Absolutely not. Have room. And I think one of the things that you talk about is making things easy to get to, right?
Okay. So one of
packing with a purpose.
Right. And again, doing things, trying to teach the kids. So my husband gave each of the kids jobs. One of our kids was the loadmaster. Loadmaster did a great job helping Jim load the car, with one exception. We had a basket of snacks for each car because we took 2 cars. We had a basket of snacks for each car, and it was under the beach towels. So in order to get to, and then you had to lift the lever. No, especially something like that, you need it accessible. Just do.
That's rookie mistake.
Yeah, but and she's rookie. She's 12. Exactly. And by the way, all I had to do was send her to get the snacks once while we're underway. And she's like, okay. And then I have her come back there and help me kind of reshift things around when we're at a rest stop that solved that. She'll never do that again. Right. Okay. Right. That's fine. And frankly, we all learned a bit that way, but I'm telling you, make sure the stuff that you need to access, if let's say you're taking your little dog with you. Sorry, I have a wolfhound. I won't be taking my dog on a road trip. It's just not going to happen. But you have your little dog. You need to make sure that the leash is accessible and the water bowl is accessible, and the poop bags.
Yeah.
Stuff like that just needs to be quick in reach because the dog's going to be eager to get out of the car.
Yes.
You're not going to have time to ditto for diapers and baby snacks and think through, imagine yourself on the trip. 3 hours in, everybody's grouchy. You want to stop driving. What do people need so that you can make it the other 20 miles to where the Buc-ee's is?
Sugar.
Not sugar. Oh. But you need to squeeze another 20 miles out of it. So what do you need what do you need to have happen? And kind of visualize the trip a little bit while you're packing the car or before you're packing the car so you can kind of figure out how this all goes down.
So this doesn't go under packing, but I kind of does. So, and I think now, especially because of the availability of podcasts, and sometimes you need to shut the rest of the car out because it can get a little dicey in that car.
Earphones are your friends.
Right. Yep. Having a couple of podcasts, and I would say download them because you never know, you might actually get into an area where there's no reception or something like that. And then that's all. Very
much second. Yes.
Yes. So be thinking about some kind of personal entertainment to get you through some of those.
And if your kids are young enough that they can't do that kind of thing themselves, go away. Do the movie downloads, do the Ben and Holly's Little Kingdom downloads, do all the download. This goes for air travel, by the way. It goes doubly for air travel.
Yep.
Do all the downloads that you think your kids are going to need before you get underway, which, by the way, brings us up to something. I've done a lot of traveling with the children. When we lived overseas, we were coming back to London to Houston at least 3 times a year with 4 kids under the age of 6, 7. Okay. Airtime and car time are free screen times. Just
let it go.
Let it go. Let it go. A matter of fact, it's one of the things that can keep you motivated on keeping screen time at regular days, because then it's a real treat and you can actually get some real, so let them watch 10 movies if they want to. Just let it go.
This is not the time for, setting the example of how this is how we're going to do. No, just whatever, man. Right.
It's
the Thunderdome in that car, man. It's whatever it takes to get us through these next 10 hours. I don't care. All the rules are out the window for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
So I never imposed screen time limits while we were in an airplane or while we were road tripping in a car.
No.
Right.
That would be silly. That would be silly.
Just one more thing to fight about. And really, especially when they were younger, they're cranky enough.
Yeah.
Let's do a quick little side thing here.
Yeah.
Traveling with ages. It's really easy, although sometimes not advisable just for germs and stuff like that. Under 6 months old, unless you have a colicky baby or some other issue, it's almost easy. You pick them up, you try. Their food is all contained.
Yeah.
They sleep a lot more often than after 6 months, or really when your kid starts moving around a bit and crawling, and it gets more complicated. 18 months to about 3 years is just, don't do it if you don't have to.
Yep.
Don't do it if you don't have to.
I second that.
Because they have very little tolerance for frustration. They can move around and get out of seatbelts and all this kind of stuff. They can move around. If they can't move around, they can certainly let you know that they can't move around and they're upset about it. Traveling with a 18-month-old, a 36-month-old is just hard. And then you get to the place and maybe, it's your grandmother's that you're going to and it's not baby proof, but the baby can get that doesn't happen with the 6 months. And as they get a little old, as they get north of 3, well, now you can start to actually do some effective discipline. You can actually distract them with things. They have they're starting to build a tolerance for frustration. And if you travel with them a lot, from about 3 to 5, they learn really fast. By the time you get to a 5-year-old that's experienced travel, now it's back to almost easy.
Yep.
I mean, every once in a while you'll have somebody that gets car sick or there'll be some crankiness about something, but traveling with an experienced 5-year-old is almost a joy.
Yeah, we didn't take Hallie for her first big trip and I can distinctly remember that my dad had invited us to go to like North Carolina or South Carolina, the Outer Banks or whatever. And Hallie was 2 and change. And I just looked, I said, I'm so sorry.
We would love to,
but it's a hard no. And I mean, I literally had to, cause he was on and on, right. And Dad, this is a hard no, right? For all of the reasons that you just outlined. And it wasn't until she was 3.5 that Laura and I said, okay, we feel comfortable. We're going to do it. And then we did it. It was fine. Right. We did all the, hey, watch all the shows you want. We'll play games. We'll hang out. And so we flew. So it was a lot. It was almost fun. Yeah, it was fine. Right. Yep. Anyway.
So that's our little segue about traveling with ages.
Yeah. But when they're young, don't worry about it. Don't just, it's until they start rolling around and moving around and shaking and baking. That's when it gets difficult. For sure. Right. For sure. And make sure that you bring enough chargers.
Yes.
For your devices.
So a matter of fact, in cars, you can, in the cigarette charger, well, they used to be cigarette chargers. Now they're called 12 volts. And,
DC adapters.
Yes. You can get, the adapters that you stick in that maybe have 3 USBs in them. Most cars now I'm finding come with USB outlets and, there's all sorts of stuff. Make sure you have enough charging capacity for all the devices that you need.
And
that you can get to it and that you have the cables for it.
Yes. And I'm also a big fan. If you don't have a power inverter for maybe something bigger, like a laptop or, something that's not going to run on just DC power for a really long time, go get yourself one of those. They're like $50 or $60 where you can actually have something real plug into the deal. I actually keep one in my bag all the time because I just never know where, like if I have a lesson cancel and I can't go anywhere, it's like, well, I can do some work, and that sort of thing. So keep power inverters with you. That's Ryan's pro tip.
Excellent pro tip.
All right. So let's say we've decided to go on a trip and we have had the genius, we've had the genius idea that we are in fact going to rent an RV.
Loads of fun. Some of my favorite vacations as a kid were in an RV. RVs are kind of like renting boats. There are lots and lots and lots of parts and things to break, and it's kind of amazing. So you have sewage that you need to worry about, which...
Yep, you got it.
Yeah, we just want to go for the Griswold thing. You got to worry about sewage. You got to worry about wastewater. You have to worry about potable water, drinking water. So you need to be able to fill that up. Also, when you're renting the RV, they're most likely going to have limitations on how often you can run the generator, which is going to run your AC in the main cabin.
Got it.
Right. So and when Jim and I looked into it, they're now like, 4 hours. You can run included in the rental fee is 4 hours a day of the generator.
I don't even get that.
I know. It's kind of like, why don't you just not include it and charge me for it?
Right.
Right. I mean, it's not even 8 hours for like an overnight, right? Which is when you would most likely be, because you're running the generator when you're parked in the RV park and you're sleeping. It seems like that thing. Oh, remember when hotels, when you first started getting Wi-Fi and cell phones all the time. And so, we stopped using hotel phones, because they would charge you like $2 an outgoing call or something. Right. It's one of the ways they skim some money off the top. And they started charging for Wi-Fi, and people started really just hating that and, getting around it. Well, I'd rather use my, 3G network than the Wi-Fi right up. And so finally hotels got to the point where they're like, okay, free Wi-Fi comes with the room. This seems kind of like the same thing. It's just a little extra way to skim off some money. Also, RVs tend to have mileage driving limits. So if you are deciding to rent an RV and you are planning out your trip, you might need to be aware of the fact that you are only allowed to go in the base plan 400 miles a day or something like that. Yeah. Right. So it's all doable. It's all fun. RV trips are fun. Don't get me wrong, but you need to think through some of those things. Ooh, more RV fun. They're hard to maneuver. Much harder. Have you ever driven one?
No.
No. Okay. They are much, much harder to maneuver. That is doubly true for when you are backing out. And heaven forbid, if you have a trailer hitch on it, sometimes they'll have classes on how to do this because it's just the physics of backing up with a trailer hitch are just different. And if you've never done it before, you don't want to do it for the first time when you're on a road trip with your family and you're hauling a camper behind your SUV.
What I tell people about backing up with a trailer for the first time is you have to go against your natural instincts.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And that's a very hard thing to do. It's like, oh, the trailer's going that way. Well, you have to turn into the trailer, not turn, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, that can be a thing.
Right. So if they have lessons for that, go ahead and do it.
I definitely did not hit a gas pump with a trailer one time.
He's lying. I just have this sixth sense.
I definitely did not, and definitely did not need Sean to come and rescue me. And
you hit a gas pump.
Yeah. Well, so I scraped the gas pump, but then I hit the little, like, that sometimes they have that metal sort of upside down U thing or, And so I hit that and then I stopped because, he came and he cut it way too close and we were shifting, right? And so, he gave me zero room. And Sean grew up on a farm. So he's like...
So he can cut it close.
Right.
Yeah.
He's been doing the trailer thing since he was in the womb, right? And this is maybe my fourth or fifth time. I wasn't an expert, but it wasn't, I had some experience anyway. So I had, he's in the store and he's eating some Cheetos or something like that. And I'm like, can you come here and get this thing out for me? And don't worry about the white paint that's on the gas pump. It's totally fine. Road trips.
And final bit of fun with RVs. Pay attention if you're going on any back roads, because if, say, the railroad crossing bridge is a little low, or if there's a narrow, especially if we have any European listeners you can get stuck.
Know how tall your vehicle is.
Right, and how wide. Those things, they're made for the interstate and wide open spaces. If you need to go any back roads, probably not your best option.
Happening.
Yeah, because the last thing you want to do is oh my gosh, I can't make it. I can't thread that needle between those two buildings and those cars. And now I need to back down the hill. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I just had a little bit of stress.
I could tell.
I just had a little bit of stress thinking about it.
Right there. When we talk about car rentals too, one of the things that you wrote down is the toll tags.
Right. There's lots of things that car rentals, same thing, will do to kind of get some extra money.
Yep.
So we were just renting a car and it comes with a toll tag, which is great. So in case we need to go through any toll roads, but the toll tag was going to, if we wanted to use the toll tag or if we actually used the toll tags, then they were going to charge us $30 a day. And we're like, dude, we're going to pay the tolls.
Right. Right.
One, we didn't actually end up using, we didn't need any alone.
Yep.
But at $30 a day to rent the toll tag,
it's outrageous.
Yeah. So pay attention to little things like that. Again, they might have mileage limits, not usually, but read your rental contracts carefully.
Yeah. And one of the things that I would tell you too is that typically when you rent a car, you have to rent it with a credit card and they'll always give you the insurance pitch, right? Do you want insurance? I've never seen a credit card. If you read the statement, if you read the things, comes with insurance when you rent a car with your credit card.
Right. So that's just kind of a little, we won't call it a scam. We'll call it fluffing.
It's a scam. Hey, we need you to use a credit card to rent this. Well, my credit card comes with insurance, but we want you to buy more insurance.
Right.
Wait, what? Okay.
Yeah, they're basically assuming that most people don't know that most credit cards come with insurance.
Which is why I wanted to say that right now, because I've seen people waffle in the line. Ooh, should I get it? It's like, yo, that's a MasterCard. You're good. You know what I mean?
Also remember, because for instance, on this last trip, when we were having the 16-year-old do 2 legs, that was in my car because we rented a car. You have to be 25 to rent a car. So you can't be 22 and rent a car.
Nope.
Right. So you have to have been driving for a long time before they will let you rent a car. And that goes for your substitute drivers too. So if you have a teenager doing your substitute driving and you're renting something,
when something happens,
not covered.
You just bought yourself a new car.
Yeah.
That doesn't work.
Right. Right.
And then I think the most important detail is who is in charge of what when you start the road trip, right? This idea of what are the car rules?
Think through if you were traveling, even if you're traveling with adults are totally capable of bickering.
Absolutely.
But have an idea. This was a big one in the last trip that we took. We had 2 girls in the backseat of my car, and they were in a regular tussle, argument. It wasn't a full-blown argument, enough to annoy the driver, especially when we get to the 3rd time around, because one was laying down and going to sleep, and then the other one wanted, get your feet out of my face, all this kind of stuff. And then there's the air conditioning thing. If you were, again, in an RV, there's the question of, well, can you get up and move around while the car is underway? Because, it's kind of a modified small living room on wheels. So what are you allowed? Who's in charge of the air conditioner? Who's in charge of who can sleep when? Who can move around? The more rules you can set at the beginning, the happier you're going to be. There's still going to be bickering. Would you stop touching me? And
yeah. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you.
Not touching you. I'm not.
It's funny because Sean's about to go on a road trip.
Oh, excellent.
He's going to Florida as well. 8 days.
Sweet.
Yeah,
it was fun.
He leaves on Saturday. So it'll be him and his wife and his 4 kids. So I'll make sure that he listens to this before.
He has to listen and tell him he can call me if he needs to.
Maybe he'll listen from the Loftus.
That makes me
I know.
Okay, Sean is no longer our cameraman because Sean has gotten a
cybersecurity job.
Right,
Yep.
Full-time job, but he's working from home and he has a loft in his house and he's in the he's in the office loft, which he calls
the Loftus. It was very cool.
Sean, when he told me that, I got warm.
I was smiling. Yeah, it was very cool. I was like, this guy. We miss him here. Yeah, we do miss him. I miss him all the time. It's he's doing the school thing, he's doing the work thing, and so he's just like he's got 3 months left of school, and then once that is done, like I know his life is going to be a lot more free to do what he wants to do. But he, new job,
right?
But he works from home. He's taking his laptop. He's working there. You know what I mean? So it's all good. It's all good. So it's really, really, really cool.
So he needs to make sure he's got his Wi-Fi stuff set up.
We'll tell him. Get your Wi-Fi squared away.
One more.
Go ahead. Hit it.
If you have a display option in your car, oh my gosh, this saved so much in the, are we there yet? Are we there? I had the screen up in my car out of the dash, and I had it set up with the Google, so it showed our progress of here's where we're going, here's where we were, just like on an airplane where, you can go and check. So are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? That's a Simpsons episode. But,
right. Okay. No, I know.
Yeah, so I only got 2 are we there yet? And I was like, all I had to do was say, look at the map.
Look at the map. Are we driving? Then no, we're not there yet. Has the vehicle stopped?
At someplace other than a gas station or Buc-ee's?
No, we're not there. Go back and watch your tablet.
Exactly.
I can't deal. All right. Anything else? Anything else?
I think that's it.
No, I think I've told all of my road trip follies. So I think
road tripping's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. It's
just
one of those.
Plan a little for it.
It's planning, and with so many things, is a mindset, right? Yep. You don't take a road trip because you're wanting to get there the fastest possible way.
Bingo.
Right?
Yeah.
You take it because you're looking for an experience. You're looking for something that you're going to be able to talk about in the future and laugh about.
You want to slightly torture your kids. So
a little bit. A little bit. Yep.
Encourage bonding, build character. Yeah.
It's good. So.
And you want to see the giant ball of wax.
Right. Not me. I've never stopped at any of those things. I just blew by.
My dad was a bit of a Griswold. So yeah. Right. I've seen lots of those. Random.
Yeah. No thanks. Okay. Let's do the business part.
The business part.
Excellent. If you're listening to us on Google Play, Spotify, or Apple Music, please be sure and give us a 5-star rating. Leave comments in the description area. If you're watching us on YouTube, click the subscribe button. Maybe hit the little bell icon next to it. I don't know. Maybe you want an email notification of when these podcasts go live, which happens to be every Monday, but you guys already know that. You can find me most chatty on Twitter at Ryan Tailon, RyanDaillon. 30 episodes in, still can't spell my name. Leslie, do the rest. I can't.
All right. Well, I am usually on Twitter at Leslie Loftus Text TX. You can talk to me there, or email me at Leslie@Life Administration. I also keep some show notes on our Pinterest boards, which is Life Administration. And I'm still trying to figure out what to do with the Instagram account, which is Life Administration. I just don't think in Instagram. It's just not.
You don't think in Instagram?
I don't think in Insta.
Oh, and something else too is because, we have literally thousands of people that listen now. So if you're not subscribed on the website, we are revamping some PDFs.
Oh, yes, we are.
That are only going to be for subscribers only. So if you want some more details, maybe you hear a bunch of things in an episode. You're like, boy, I'd really like a checklist, or I'd really like something to kind of go along with this. We got those things coming for you. But the only way that you're going to get that is if you're a subscriber on the website. So just go in. All we ask is for your email. We don't sell it. Don't do anything. It's just honestly just to help the journey of life administration. And that's all. Other than that, I have been Ryan Tailon.
And I have been Leslie Loftus.
And you have been awesome. We'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.
See you later. Bye.